regional language influence is undeniable, but adaptation has been very uneven. Many brands still treat regional media as an extension of national coverage. Same releases, same angle, just translated, and that's the first mistake.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Media Coffee, a series brought to you by PR Newswire, a Cision brand. We have been interviewing journalists from leading media organizations and communications professionals to break down everything that is happening in the media and communications world. Today, we are heading to India to explore the relationship between PR professionals and journalists and how these dynamics are shaping the industry. I'm happy today to welcome Vikram Karvi, CEO of Bloomingdale PR, who brings nearly 3 decades of experience in PR, media relations, and strategic communications. Hi, Vikram. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on board. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. So, just to start the interview and kind of like to set it up before starting my questions, can you tell us a little bit about your professional background and your professional journey in general?
So it's about almost 3 decades, just short of 2 years to complete my 3 decades in the media-led domain. That's public relations, corporate communication, journalism. So I started my career with sales, and then eventually I moved on to journalism. So I was a journalist for writing on travel and tourism, and then post journalism, I mean post stint of working with Indian Express, I started with my own publication where I was focusing on merchant naval officers and merchant navy as a domain. From that, I moved to corporate communications, and then eventually I came into the world of PR agencies or PR consultancies, and then I've been here since then. So about 28 years in uh, straddling across media related businesses,
Mhm.
and mostly about 18 years in PR consultancy. So
Yeah.
that's me.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've worked closely with journalists,
Yes.
for a long time and with major media
Yes.
brands. Based on
Yes.
your experience, how would you describe the current state of journalists and PR professionals' relationship?
I would say it's functional but strained. There's mutual dependence, but not always mutual understanding. Journalists, as we all know, are under immense pressure today. Fewer newsrooms, tighter deadlines, sharp editorial filters, and now with AI, there is a constant competition from digital platforms. On the other side, PR teams are managing more clients, more channels, and far more expectations than ever before. So
Mhm.
what's changed is, I think, patience. Earlier, relationship could absorb some noise. Today, one irrelevant pitch can cost you credibility very quickly. A journalist tweets about you, and then your credibility is gone for a toss. At the same time, good PR professionals who respect a journalist's time and beat and intelligence are valued more than ever. So
Mhm.
it's not that every journalist is there, against PR professional, but a lot of journalists who know how PR professionals function in real world, they respect them as well. So I don't think the relationship is broken. It's more transactional than ever before. That's correct. And that has become because the media business itself has changed. Trust still exists, but it has to be earned repeatedly. So the old comfort of call anytime has been replaced by make it worth my time.
Mhm, mhm. It's interesting that you mentioned journalists respect PR professionals that, or prefer PR professionals that respect their time, etc. However, this has been a complaint for a long time, I think, and it still persists till this
Yes.
day, where journalists complain that they are flooded with irrelevant press
Yes.
releases. In your opinion,
Yes.
why is this problem still happening, even after years of feedback?
Because volume has replaced thinking. PR today, as we all know, is under immense pressure to show output quickly, which leads to bulk emailing, general announcements, and hope-based pitching. I remember very early in my career of PR, one journalist had complained to my boss about being spammed by multiple, uh, team members with irrelevant pitches, and he beautifully said that I think you are a victim of mass emailing. So That's what is really happening. Journalists are being mass emailed. Many teams still work on the assumption that if something is sent widely enough, someone will pick it up. That mindset hasn't changed, even though journalists have been very clear. I think that is a fallout from our end. So another reason is distance from the newsroom. Many young PR professionals today have never sat inside the newsroom like few of us have been ex-journalists or probably have spoken to the journalists beyond pitching. So they don't fully understand how editorial decisions are made. There's also a structural issue, I believe. Often PR agencies are expected to justify retailers through visible activity. Sending fewer, sharper releases or pitches feels risky internally, even though it works better externally. I think the irony is simple. Journalists want fewer releases with more relevance. PR people keep sending more releases with less relevance. So until teams are rewarded for quality over quantity, this problem will continue.
In your opinion, and based on your experience, how can PR professionals and comms as well balance clients' expectations with what's newsworthy for journalists and newsrooms?
So I think this is where PR becomes advisory and not execution. The balance comes from setting expectations early and repeatedly. Clients often look at PR through a brand lens, and most often you're reporting to a marketing gate. Newsrooms look at it through readers' lens. Someone has to bridge that gap, honestly. We spend a lot of time telling clients what will work and what will not work, not just what might. That conversation is uncomfortable but necessary. If everything
Hmm.
becomes let's try, credibility would suffer on both sides. So good PR teams translate business intent into editorial relevance. So sometimes that means reframing a story, sometimes it means delaying it, sometimes it may mean saying this is better suited for owned or paid channel, not really earned media. When client trusts the advice, outcome naturally the outcomes improve. And when they don't trust the advice of the PR people, you may get the coverage, but you would probably lose a long-term media goodwill. So balancing expectations is less about compromise, but more about clarity.
Hmm. Hmm. So, do you think like PR professionals need to push back a little bit and basically, as you mentioned, set expectations early on?
Yes, yes, they definitely need to be a advisor rather than just, uh, just doing what has been told for them to do. You're not paper pushers here. You're a consultant. So I think PR people need to play that role of a consultant in real time.
So this question we get a lot from different clients is basically how to make or what make a press release or a pitch stand out to journalists. Do you have any tips or any advice to help clients with that?
Uh, I think to make the Bresley stand out, you need to write it like probably like a reference material and not announcements. So releases that that which stand out are clear, factual, and structured in a way the journalists can come back to when they need context. They explain the why and what, not just now. So good press releases avoid hype. They don't exaggerate. They don't use marketing language, and that makes safe for journalists to use them. Uh, they usually contain strong background, industry context, a very clear definition, simple explanations, and that's gold for journalists who are writing the stories. They also quote the releases will also have not many quotes, but a quote that you really that really adds value to the entire news announcement. So it's not that uh, a journalist will throughout whatever has been said to him, but something that has value for him, he will surely work it on it.
There is a lot of routine press releases or routine updates that we see coming from companies like leadership changes or product launches. How
Yeah.
can PR teams basically turn these kind of press releases into something relevant or relevant stories for journalists for them to pick it up?
Newsrooms are no longer your announcement boards. Editors and reporters are asking a very simple question today: why this should matter to my readers? and they don't write for you or they don't publish that publication for you, but they publish that publication for their readers. So most plain announcement, leadership changes, etc., answer only one thing. Uh, that really doesn't give a great value to the publication itself. What the brand wants to say, they really answer, you know, it in a manner that makes really it newsworthy. So phrases like "we are pleased to announce" or uh, you know, it sounds like a promotion and not really information. So they immediately put that story in that marketing budget where editorial value is low. So newsroom
Mhm.
today want context, they want impact, they want implications. What does this announcement mean for my consumers, employees, investors, or the market? If that is missing, the release doesn't survive the first edit itself. So another reason is volume. Journalists see hundreds of similar announcements every week. The ones that stand out are those that explain relevance, not excitement. So, in short, announcements fail not because they are wrong, but they are incomplete.
Okay. So, from your opinion and perspective as well as a PR professional, what do you think that PR team needs to include in it? Like, what do you think would be relevant to the journalist?
I think relevance and respect. That's about nothing else. It stands out when it shows the PR professional actually understood the journalist beat, audience, and the current context. This is missing. Like I said, uh, journalists become victim of mass emailing unless you do the study before you actually put that send button. The your release is going to get pushed. Journalists can tell within the first two lines whether the pitch was written for them or for the mailing list. So, and with that, timing matters too. A good story pitched at the wrong moment is still a bad pitch. A bad, something like a best PR people often track, a seasoned PR people often track what journalists have already written about and add value to that ongoing conversation instead of just trying to hijack it. Clarity is
Hmm.
another big differentiator. If the point of story is not clear in one paragraph, it won't survive a newsroom environment. Journalists don't have time to decode. And finally, and very honestly, if something is promotional, say it upfront. If there is no news hook, don't dress it up. Journalists appreciate transparency far more than clever framing. So, pitches that work today are thoughtful, specific, timely, and human. Not loud, not desperate, just useful.
So, just going back again to the structure of press releases itself, I know you've tapped into that a little bit earlier, but if you had to redesign press releases to fit, with what journalists are looking for today, what would it look like?
If a client gives me a freedom to redesign a press release the way it should be ideally done, I would do it in a manner that it is shorter, sharper, and written like a briefing note, not like a brochure. It
Hmm.
should start with the context, not celebration. It should state what changed, why it matters, and who it impacts. Uh, you know, and that would be probably the brand code. So, and at the same time, language should be plain, no jargon, no superlatives, no please to announce, just facts and implication. It should also clearly state who should care about the story: consumer, industry, policy, investors, or even employees. That clarity helps journalists place it quickly.
Yeah, yeah. So with some press releases, they continue to get quoted a month or even years after they've been published. In your opinion, what makes a press release quotable and reusable for journalists?
So that's what I spoke about it. That needs to be written like a reference material and not really
Mm,
announcement. So if you send out a study, or if you're right, if you're sending out a white paper or a research study, you write that press release in that manner, which a journalist will probably use it for a long time to come, and he will keep re-quoting you again and again when he's doing a story. So I think that way, if you write a press release that is of value to the journalist, journalists will keep coming back to it when they need context. So that I think is important. They also, if you have a strong quote on the industry by your leadership, they will use this code not probably at that point in time when you send it to release, but sometimes he's doing another story and you might just use it. So,
Hmm.
long-lasting releases are return to inform and not to impress, and that's why they stay useful.
Yeah,
I think the
yeah,
way
that's
we
great.
communicate needs to change.
Yeah. I just wanted to also mention or talk a little bit about how PR campaigns in general has changed a lot in recent years. So we see a lot of brands and companies depending a lot on influencers, and basically social media to create buzz around their products or to communicate some new news. I'm just wondering, do you think that is taking some of journalists' jobs away, or what journalism is there for? And also, what is, in your opinion, what's the biggest disconnect, I guess, between how brands imagine and use PR campaigns and how media actually works in the real life?
I think when a brand is imagining a PR campaign, the only thought that is there in their mind is how would they reach their intended audience. And to be able to do that, the media is one of the vehicle that is there to reach the audience. Newer vehicles like influencers do make a point today, and they are important today. So both are important, and even media is using social media very well today. So it's not only the news portals that are important today. Uh, what's published in that news portals? Does it have a hook? Does it have a clickbait? All these things are also important in the stories that journalists are writing today. So I think the newsroom is also getting transformed. They're transformed to newer audiences. They're transformed to newer tools or social media, new tech that is coming in, so that they be continue to be relevant. So while journalists are important, newsroom still exists. It plays its role. Influence is also becoming an important. I think there is a synchronization between all of these three, and brands see it together and not as a single piece.
Yeah. And then just moving a little bit to regional media. So regional and vernacular media have massive influence nowadays. Do you think PR and the PR industry adapted fast and they're reaching out to these media outlets enough?
Not really. We still focus on English as a medium of communication, and that's not really right for a market like India, because you know English is spoken by only a fraction of the society. A large part of the society in India still speaks and reads regional languages. That's unique in India, where you would see a circulation of probably English language publications are going down, but regional language publications are still, increasing. New
Hmm.
regional publications are added to the kit. So, regional language influence is undeniable, but adaptation has been very uneven. Many brands still treat regional media as an extension of national coverage. Same releases, same angle, just translated, and that's the first mistake. Regional media is deeply audience first. They care about local impact, local employment, local relevance, and local voices. When PR ignores that, stories, of course, will fall flat. Another mistake is hierarchy based. So, regional journalists are sometimes treated as secondary. That shows up in the tone, responsiveness, and access that a regional journalist get, and they remember it. Again, timing and language matter far more in regional media also. So, literal translations without cultural context often sound awkward and disconnected. So, brands who do well, who respect regional media as equals, brands who localize stories properly, empower regional spokespersons, and understand that credibility in these markets directly influence trust and adoption, they win. So, regional media is not really a checkbox, it's actually a relationship that needs to be cultivated even deeper.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. I was actually going to ask you about like some of the mistakes PR professionals do, like when or make when they pitch to regional media. But it's great that you tapped into that. So really appreciate that from your side. Just a couple of last questions from
Hmm.
from me. In your opinion, what's one major misconception that journalists have about PR professionals and the other way around as well?
I think the common misconception journalists have is that PR professionals are only here to push clients or spin stories. The
Okay.
reality is,
Yeah.
good PR people are often trying to protect journalists from noise by filtering what should and should not reach them. And I don't think any journalist would agree to that, but that's the reality. We don't always succeed, but intent matters. And on the other side, a big misconception PR professionals have is that journalists are obligated to cover their stories. They are not. Journalists journalists work for their readers, not for their brands. And so when PR forgets that, frustration builds on both sides. It is when both sides see each other as partners in information, not opponents in transaction, the relationship will work far better.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Vikram. I think those are all the questions that I had for today. Really appreciate you joining us. And I'm wondering if you have any last thing that you would like to mention.
I think it's a very symbiotic relationship between a PR professional and journalist. You need to invest time in if you really want to be in this career of public relation, which is one of the best careers that you would have because there's no other career which gives you this kind of an access to the C-suite. Uh, you need to, if you want to stay relevant, you need to study the media in detail, and that has not gone out of fashion even with AI. You need to understand what kind of stories that the journalist is doing, what is his, leanings, why is he covering, she is covering the kind of stories that he's doing. I think that study is critically important so that when you sit in front of the journalist, you come across as an intelligent person who can be worked along with and not someone who can be brushed aside. I think we're just pushing press
Mhm.
releases. Shouldn't.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Vikram. I really appreciate you, as I mentioned, joining us today.
Thank you
And
so
to
much.
our audience, you're welcome. And to our audience, if you're listening to us or watching our show on YouTube, thank you so much for your support. Please do follow us on YouTube, X, and LinkedIn as well. And send us any questions, comments, or feedback that you have. We would love to read them and answer them
Sure.
in future episodes as well.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you so much, everyone. It was nice talking to you. And thank you, Sujan, for giving me this opportunity. It is great. You guys are doing a great job. I hope the respect that journalists have for, the wires there in the international market that comes down to India as well. Our job will
Yeah.
become far more easier.
Thank you. Thanks, Vikram.